Hey, I'm Anthony.
And I'm Ellis. This is Stupid Marketing Tweets, a podcast where we point out bad ideas that undermine the reality of marketing and perpetuate an echo chamber.
So let's take a look at this week's stupid marketing tweet. It says, bringing empathy in marketing isn't all that hard, TBH, which means to be honest. Just talk, emphasized, just talk to your customers, yellow heart. Thank you, Ellis.
You're welcome.
So, what is stupid about this tweet?
Well, I think I'm going to start with the notion of just talk to your customers. Yes, I agree that a cornerstone of marketing is talking to your customers. But how do you just talk to your customers? I have done a lot of customer marketing, and let me tell you, it can be really hard to reach out and have customers really want to talk to you and give you not just the truth, but to be able to find customers who have a diverse enough experience with your product. You want the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's a cornerstone of product marketing, is making sure you get your promoters and your detractors, the people who have just signed up with you and the people who've just churned with you. It's really important to get a good slice. And this is why there's the whole profession of product marketing. So how does one just talk to your customers? Do you only have if you have a customer service line, you're going to get complaints. Complaints are useful, but it's also useful to get, compliments of what's going well.
The other thing I see is most people just don't know how to talk. They actually are terrible at talking. And they think talking to the customer means talking at them or telling them things that they think the customer is interested in, like your product. Customer doesn't care about your product in most cases. They
Only
might
how it
care.
relates to them.
That's right. They care about the value your product brings to them. Your product could be a widget. It could be a hardware device. It can be whatever. I love my Shark vacuum. It was $100. It picks everything up. It's really easy to use. It's portable. But if Shark called me up and they were like, hey, so let's talk about this vacuum, I'd be like, what? Why would I want to talk to you about your vacuum? It doesn't make any sense. So you need to talk with your customer about the things that they care about. It could be if Shark called me and said, hey, we saw on Amazon that you bought this, and we just wanted to follow up and make sure you really love the product or something like that. That's talking to the customer. So there's a big difference between talking at the customer and then talking to the customer.
Yes. And honestly, it's really hard to get your customers to talk to you. Right? So this is not just a one-way street. This is a two-way conversation, because a lot of people, if they get that phone call, hey, we just want to see how the product's working for you, it's like, I don't have time for this.
Right.
Right? Yeah. I'm a busy person vacuuming my house. I can't talk to you right now.
Yeah. And they might, any reasonable person might be like, yeah, it's fine. It picks stuff up and it hasn't died.
And you have learned nothing useful.
Right.
You haven't learned, why did they choose this vacuum?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? What was the problem that they had with previous vacuums that led them to try this Shark vacuum? Mm-hmm. Right? How does it compare? Would they buy another one again? Why or why not? And again, this is why product marketing is a thing, is because these conversations are really difficult. It's really hard not to let your own biases get in and to ask neutral, open-ended questions to really get the best information from your customers.
Yeah, and this also assumes, and I hate to say this, I'm sure both of our listeners are going to roll their eyes at this, but this assumes that the customer knows anything useful whatsoever. Customers,
ouch,
sometimes, and I'm not ripping on customers in general or our clients or anything like that. It's just, I bought a vacuum to do something because I needed it. I am not a vacuum expert. I don't know anything about it. There might be a way better product for the price, but what I got, I'm happy with. What do I know? I'm not an industry expert. So you have to talk to them in a way that's meaningful, and then you have to discern if what they have to say is of value to you.
That's right.
And you need
this
to
is
understand what you're after. Like, why are you talking to the customer at all?
right. And this is why companies pay big money for, third parties to go talk to customers. And then you have to offer those customers an incentive to take an hour of their time, because that's how long it takes to really uncover useful information. You have to do it more than once. This is over and over. Like, I've been in on jobs to be done interviews. These are lengthy, involved processes. And, it's really important how you talk to your customers to get the information that you want from them.
That's right. And that's not to say that it has to be lengthy or that it has to be involved. Some people
Correct.
are just naturally good at it, and that's fine. But man, the last advice I would give to any business is, hey, just go talk to your customers.
I would say listen to your customers.
Yes. And find a meaningful way to solicit information from them, to actually engage with them and give them a reason to give you the information. Like, I'm not just going to leave an Amazon review out of the goodness of my heart. There's so many things that I have to do that I haven't done out of the goodness of my heart. No.
You have so much vacuuming to do.
Oh my goodness, have you seen this place?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
also, I want to talk about this. What's the word I'm thinking of? This notion of empathy in marketing. What's your take on this, Anthony?
I think it's one of those things that people like to say that doesn't actually mean anything. It's a pithy statement. And not to get into politics, but like, that's something that irritates me about the signs I see outside people's houses. We believe that science is real and this and that. And I'm like, come on. I understand where your heart is, but like, what do these statements mean? And to me, having empathy in marketing is the same kind of thing. Like, it's just some pithy, trivial thing that looks good on a sign.
Well, I think, the word empathy has kind of been a buzzword in the zeitgeist recently. And I know that I get confused when I think of empathy in marketing, because on one hand, good marketing requires empathy, because you really have to think of what problems are your customers or prospects experiencing, and how are they feeling, how are they searching for solutions, and how are you going to help them. So I would say, by nature, good marketing requires empathy. And I don't quite understand the recent conversation around empathy in marketing. So again, to our two listeners, feel free to at me. I would love to hear your thoughts, but I agree that it's kind of a confusing and meaningless sentiment.
Oh, and this whole thing of like, Apple is the greatest marketing company in the world, right? And then you go to their page. Where's the empathy? Like, oh, so pro. Is that marketing? Like, are you empathizing with me as a professional? Do I need to feel like I'm a pro by buying the iPhone Pro? Like,
No.
it's like people have this. They have these words they want to use, and they make them feel good about themselves. And if I tell people to be empathetic, then I'm doing good on Twitter. But you know what? Sometimes the last thing I need is empathy, and I don't need empathy about a cell phone, Give me empathy about like healthcare. Give me empathy about clothing for my children. Sure, that's fine. But like, there's so many things where empathy is just not the right. It's not the right hammer for the nail.
Yes, and when it's not the right hammer, it often comes across and really is just insincere. And that is bad marketing.
Yeah, I don't need McDonald's to be telling me like or Coca-Cola to be showing stories of like a kid growing up and whatever. Like,
And you know what? Coca-Cola is like, so in all of the marketing conferences that I've been to, they're always one of the examples for good marketing. I'm like, this is Coca-Cola. They have tens of millions of dollars at their disposal. They can do whatever they want, and it's probably not going to impact their sales at all.
Yeah. Hey, buy this. It'll rot your teeth and your kids too, So, I mean, it's fine. I know people like Coke. It's just this whole notion of empathy as the hammer and everything looks like a nail is a problem. So we are past our limit. I think that's a hot topic for us. So thanks for bringing it up, Ellis. And if any of you want to learn more about what Ellis and I do, you can check out edifycontent.com and feel free to follow us on Twitter and engage with Stupid Marketing Tweet as a hashtag.